Well, good morning, and on behalf of Mayor Tom Henry and Commissioners Therese Brown and Rich Beck, I want to welcome you to this event today. It's great to see such a large gathering, and it truly helps us better understand what Disability Month in March in Fort Wayne and Allen County means. It was just short of 3 years ago that the mayor and I stood at a press conference much like this with Jeff Scheer, John Gingrich, and others who are joining us today to formalize a resolution on the Fort Wayne-Allen County Disability Advisory Committee. And I think it's important to talk about them a little bit because it sort of ties into the real reason we're here today. They were sort of born out of a Disability Month awareness. And they came to the table with the idea of helping better advise the mayor and the commissioners on issues that might be going right over our head, things that we weren't really aware of. And I just want to tell you about a couple of their accomplishments in just a few short years. We look at parking spaces in this community that now exist, that didn't exist before that time. We look at the jail. We look at small claims parking. We look at parking across from the community corrections building. Well, they went one step further, and they started knocking on the doors of private sector employers, alerting them to the fact that the handicapped spots that should have been reserved for those individuals in disabilities either were not marked legibly or had their signs taken down. And it is just amazing now to watch the reaction of so many of those in Fort Wayne and Allen County who have turned the tide and said, wait a minute. Recognizing disabilities in this community is meaningful. We've got people who are really, really contributing to this community, and we better get on board with some of the requests that are being made. One other thing, John Perlick and I this morning left a Visit Fort Wayne board meeting. And one of the things that they are adopting in their comprehensive plan, in their strategic plan, is to make Fort Wayne and Allen County an adaptive sports community. And with resources like Turnstone and Anthony Wayne Services, we're going to get there. We're going to get to the promised land sooner than later. So all of the things this community has embraced because of this Disability Council are a great platform, a great foundation to continue to build on. So it is this month that we get the opportunity to recognize Disability Month in Fort Wayne and Allen County. But more important, I think it is a month that helps us, that allows us as a community to celebrate all of the successes that this group has led the city and county towards. So I just want to personally say thank you for everything. Thank you for the continual meetings, monthly if not more, and really getting us closer to the promised land with respect to disability recognition in this community. And just to add to that, I'd like to invite Mayor Tom Henry to the podium for a few remarks from the city.
Thank you, Nelson. One of the problems I have following Nelson is he is so articulate in his comments that he doesn't really leave me a lot more to say. But one of the things he did touch on is the fact that disabilities of one type or another are part of the human condition. And the sooner we all realize that, we as a community realize that everybody has something to offer, then the sooner we'll become the type of city that we know we're capable of becoming. I know I speak for the commissioners as well when I say we would like nothing more than to be a city of best practices when it comes to taking care and providing for those who have the various disabilities that exist. So much can be accomplished by a community that really is inclusive. When we talk about inclusivity, a lot of times we talk about accepting people into our community with different races, different nationalities, and the like. But it's much deeper than that. To be an inclusive a community, then we need to be open to everyone. And I think that's what the commissioners and I are trying to achieve, to say to everyone, you're welcome into the city of Fort Wayne, and we will do all we can to make sure that we are the kind of inclusive community that we want to be. So thank you so much for coming. At this time, I'd like to ask Commissioner Brown to come forward and say a few words. Commissioner?
Well, as everyone before me has stated, thank you all for being here. This is a monumentous occasion for us to be here today, to be able to do this proclamation. And it wouldn't have been possible without the involvement, clearly, of the League for the Blind and Disabled. So at this stage, I would like to thank John Gingrich for their participation clearly in this process, and would like to give him an opportunity to say a few words. Awesome. John. Thanks.
Man, those are hard acts to follow. Thank you all for coming. First of all, to members of the Northeast Indiana Disability Advocacy Coalition, who really helped work with the mayor's office and the commissioners to establish this council. You put in the effort that led to where we are today, so thank you. And thank you for my friends with disabilities that are also out in the audience today. It means a lot to have such a turnout. So recently, the Center for Disease Control identified that 1 in 4 Americans are a person with a disability. That means that 1 in 4 people and their families are living with a physical, sensory, intellectual, mental health, or chronic health condition that results in disability. That makes people with disabilities the largest minority population in the country, the largest minority population in Fort Wayne and Allen County. Disability Awareness Month is but one way to highlight people with disabilities as being part of our community. But inclusion truly goes beyond that. The council has spent the last 2 years promoting full inclusion of people with disabilities in a variety of ways. We've met with local government officials and city and county departments, as many as we could. In the last couple of days, we've even identified a couple more we need to meet with. We've conducted a survey of needs and shared that information with our local officials, identifying employment, housing, transportation, and recreation amongst the top needs that people with disabilities and their families identify. We actually developed a training module for the city and the county that can be used with employees to provide a common language and foundation for effectively addressing the needs of people with disabilities. That common language, that common foundation is critical to step forward. But as the commissioners and the mayor have also highlighted, there have been some other successes that while we've been involved, we shouldn't take all the credit for. The riverfront development in Promenade Park is one of the most accessible parks that I've ever seen. It's fantastic. The increased curb cuts and sidewalks throughout the city shows our commitment to making Fort Wayne a livable city. The installation of audible crosswalks for people with vision impairments is fantastic. More metered accessible parking downtown. I believe it was just a few years ago where we had 11, and now we have nearly 22 spots. And then finally, the joint effort between the city clerk's office and the county building department to address those parking lots where the signage has disappeared, and to be able to educate folks on, hey, there's a reason these signs exist, and there's a reason these parking spaces exist. And finally, attendance from people with disabilities and advocates in the recent All-in Allen Comprehensive Plan. For us as people with disabilities, it's just important that we step up. If we want to be included, if we want to impact our community, we need to take that role, and we need to be self-advocates and do that. So I was excited at the last workshop to see so many people with disabilities in the audience. We on the council appreciate the continued efforts of both the city and the county leadership, and we look forward to Fort Wayne and Allen County truly becoming one of the most inclusive communities in the state and in the nation. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it.
So now we will read the joint proclamation. And Mayor Henry, if you would please. join me up here as well as I read said statement. So this is a joint proclamation of the City of Fort Wayne and the Allen County Board of Commissioners. Whereas the month of March has been designated as Disabilities Awareness Month to celebrate and recognize people with disabilities, and whereas disability is a natural part of the human experience and does not diminish the right of individuals to live independently, make choices, enjoy self-determination, contribute to society, and experience the economic, political, social, cultural, and educational mainstream of American society, and whereas family members, friends, and members of the community can play a central role in enhancing the lives of people with disabilities, especially when the family and community are provided with necessary support services, and public and private employers are aware of the capabilities of people with disabilities to be engaged in competitive work in inclusive settings. And whereas the most effective way to increase disability awareness is through active participation of everyone in community activities and the openness of all of us to learn and acknowledge each individual's contribution, and whereas the Fort Wayne and Allen County Disability Advisory Council has been at the forefront of providing assistance to city and county government officials and departments with the implementation of policies, procedures, and programs on inclusivity and to help contribute to the quality of life for those with disabilities. Now, therefore, the Mayor of the City of Fort Wayne and the Board of Commissioners of the County of Allen hereby proclaim March 2020 as Disabilities Awareness Month in Fort Wayne and Allen County, and encourage all citizens to recognize and participate in this observance. To be signed by Thomas C. Henry, Mayor of the City of Fort Wayne, and Teresa M. Brown, President of the Allen County Board of Commissioners. Mayor? Thank you, sir. And there we are. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This closes the event. We appreciate everyone's participation, and of course, as always, if anyone has any questions or comments or anything, we are all here to take those questions. And again, thank you for your participation and being here today. Thank you.